nice day out there today.
Oh,
I remember.
How's everyone?
Yeah,
yeah,
fine.
fine, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anne and Gordon there?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, they
Oh,
are.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, well done. You feeling a bit better or not?
Bit better, thank you, but not finished, but bit better, Tom.
Did you catch it as well, Anne?
Yeah,
Cozy?
yeah,
Oh, right.
yeah. He's very kind at sharing.
Yeah.
He's still sleeping in the
Oh, dear.
caravan.
Oh, is
Oh
he?
gosh.
Oh,
Right.
lovely. Look, hello.
He's back in the house in the day, but still in the caravan at night.
Band at night.
Oh
Yeah.
dear.
Yeah. Trouble is, I've got the dog.
Right.
Not sure whether it's a good swap or not.
Don't say too much, he's listening.
Dog.
The dog, yeah, the dog.
Hmm.
Gets easily
Don't,
upset.
don't upset the dog.
Oh, Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, happy
to
New Year
you
to
too.
Yeah.
everybody.
Raring to go.
Don't know about that.
I got a message from one of the ticket people because they plan the events recurring, so it plans it for 2024, and they said I think it's this year. I think it might be this year. Boxing Day's on a Tuesday. Is what I think. So I thought, does anybody want to do it on a Boxing Day or not?
I won't be able to because I'll be at my
No, I
daughter's.
think they just
Yeah.
said to me, you do
Yeah.
some of your dates, the updated dates for the
Hmm.
following year, fall on
Gosh.
public holidays, and I spotted that was the one. So I think we won't do. That'll be a first as well. I can't remember the last time that happened. Cancelling because of Christmas.
Gosh. Yeah.
I think it's this year.
Mm.
2 secs. It's lucky this morning I switched my computer on touch wood. I shouldn't say it, and it wouldn't work. I thought, oh my god. Yeah, it's this December. It's the 26th is on the Tuesday, so
Right. Oh,
we'll have,
Gosh, that's my daughter. Excuse me.
we'll abandon that one.
Hmm.
What do I get rid of that? Oh, talk of which.
Nothing like planning ahead.
no, that's right. We just finished this one.
I'm sorry about last week's. What a flipping horrendous thing that was.
Yes, it was.
Some people did
Oh,
all
the
that.
children one, yeah. I was getting confused then because I did that one and then I went back and did the trees one, so I'm sort of thinking the trees one was last week.
No,
Oh,
that was quite nice. That was quite nice, Carol.
I think she's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
her
oh yeah.
daughter. Yeah, I like that one.
Cute, that one.
Well,
cute as well.
It's the umbrella that's hard to. It's how do you get a reference point to it? You know, the colours, and I washed it off a few times and tried different colours, and in the end I've gone back to some of I can't remember the colours I used now.
It's a nice cheerful one.
I don't think I'm gonna store it. I think it's gone forever. We could, I mean,
It's actually quite a good week to be off sick.
Yeah.
yeah, I think you're right there. Well, I haven't heard from the 2 ladies that came the other week.
Nice.
That's lovely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying the ones that we did were, but they could be better. They were all right, but I'm just saying it was hard. I couldn't get my head around it.
Yeah.
It was very hard. Didn't enjoy that one at all.
No.
The more you tried, the worse it got. It's a bit frustrating, really, because I spent quite a bit of time drawing it up, getting it right. And planning, combining the two images together. So disappointed in that respect. Good technical exercise on what to avoid.
Yeah,
We'll have a vote on it next time if we don't like it. We don't want to do that one.
I think it would be a good idea if everyone joined the Paint My Pictures and just went in and got
One
one.
out.
Yeah, if you go in every so often and see an image that you like, you just because I do it and I think, oh, I just flick through ones that catch my eye, and I think, yeah, that's good. I like that.
Excuse me a minute. Because this phone call comes up on my iPad as well, I can't see you now. How do I get back in? I've got, when you have a Zoom meeting, I've got all the phone things up here, speaker, Zoom. How do I get back into you? Don't know why it did that.
We can see you.
Oh, well, I can't see you. Shall I press the Zoom and see what happens?
Oh, you've gone, mate.
Just give 2 seconds. Should come up asking you to start your video.
No, nothing yet. What shall I press? Video or Zoom? Video?
Well, you've got a choice of one or the other.
Right, let's try the video. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was my daughter phoning from India. I thought, I had to cut
Oh,
it short.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's just waiting to go on another train journey. Then I think another train journey tomorrow. And then she's going to Goa then for 5 weeks.
Oh, wow.
God.
Very nice.
So so she's out of that 5 weeks, she's doing 2 weeks on a yoga retreat. I thought, I could just do with that. She's got a little hut on the beach where they stay.
Right.
Lovely. Got to do it while you're young.
Oh yeah. So she's had a wonderful time all going around India. She had 37 days of it.
Wow.
A guided tour. Yeah.
She been in the Marigold Hotel yet?
Yeah, she said she was going there, but she didn't send any pictures. Yeah, I don't think they've taken them to lots of, buildings and mosques or whatever they have out there, and interesting places. Yeah.
Up into Miriam Margolis, that'd be a laugh.
Well, she said they were going there, but then she never mentioned it anymore. So I don't know.
Is she on her own or with her partner or friends?
No, she's on. Well, she went on her own with this guided tour. There was only 5 of them on there. So there's 2 Australians. They only did half the tour, so they left at Christmas. So she's been with this other couple who come from Weymouth. Funny enough.
Oh, wow.
But I think she gets a bit fed up with him because he's a bit of a know-all or something. So she said.
Right.
He doesn't like the media or anything, he doesn't believe in all this social media. No, I think Lynn got a bit huffy. Well, she said, I like to keep in contact with my friends,
John Craig.
So anyway.
Each to their own, mate.
No, that's it. But I think they're all
He's
right.
frozen.
Yeah, who's not?
Dave.
Dave's frozen. Oh, you're
Oh, no.
no,
Not
he's
me.
moving.
I'm
No,
waiting.
he was just listening.
He's not frozen.
No.
I was just listening.
Ooh.
I said, it's like I always told the kids, wasn't it? 2 ears, 2 eyes, 1 mouth.
Yeah, best way, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Say nothing, tell them nothing.
That's it.
I don't know what
Try
that.
and stop down and it's umbrellas all over again.
You reckon you use umbrellas again?
Mm.
Absolutely, yeah. it's
Oh.
nice.
Chrissy, please. You're on about the background. And what did I say before? I ain't doing one with a bowl in it.
Yeah. Well, at least this
Hey,
one
ho.
hasn't got stripes like the last one.
Mm.
I have noticed something. I forgot to draw the little petals in on mine.
It's a very
So it's
small
gonna-
bowl that only holds one apple.
Yeah.
Mm.
Very
Strange,
nice.
isn't
I like
it?
the colours.
Very big apple.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
there's a
Well, I
bit of a
suppose the
whopper. in that.
background, we can do what we like, really, can't we?
Good.
Or not put it in at all.
Just put white
Nice
sheet.
plain background.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, there ain't no rules on this one.
oh.
I forgot to put in the thingy.
Mm.
Black and white. I think today I'm gonna have a little punt at playing with shadows first. Where would you start? I mean, what would anybody got any thoughts on where?
Start at the very
We're
Where's
beginning.
waiting for yours.
Yeah.
Follow me, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever you decide, Dave, we'll do it. No, I'm just
I
I'm
think
just
I'd
thinking-
start with the apple, wouldn't you? I
Yeah,
don't
me
know.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's always with some of these sort of with the comfort stuff like the landscape, trees, hills in the background, you know, the normal watercolor type thing. It's fairly straightforward. It's sort of top down and maybe a little bit of jiggery pokery during. But with these things, it's there ain't no hard and fast. It's really difficult to know. You sort of, where am I going to put the? I've made my brush wet. I've got water. Where do I put it? Where do I start? I don't know. So I'll find out.
Well, perhaps do the background first. Would that be easier? Don't know.
Well, see, there is that element as well. I mean, it's worth talking about it, but because sometimes you need a little bit of a confidence, a bit of a work up to the main event sort of thing. And so doing those sort of doing the background or some of the sky is the classic, isn't it? Do the sky first, get that right, and then do everything else. Boost your confidence. So yeah, there is a lot of truth in that. Pick something that you think, you know, do the easy bit first and gradually build up. On that happy note, I'll do it. Hang on, change the camera. I think it's working all right. Change the microphone. Fun. And go for it. What have I forgot? Hair dryer. Oh. I've got a funny feeling I might need it. It's all out because I walked the dog and we got wet. Me and Frodo I got up really early today. Decided I needed to go out. I did have a warm-up session earlier on, just to remind me. Sometimes if you do, like I say, you do something that you're not too proud of, you have to just do something. Just prove that you can still paint a bit. Just practice on. Well, no. Sometimes you just put paint on and see what happens. It's all about trees. How to paint, how to do trees with dry brush. I think my thing is not to rush. I think I need to go out a bit. Come down a bit. See what happens. I've got a little reference doodah. I've got a black and white one. So which one? Put that there, I think. Got reference. A wide view. Got my palette on the left. I've all tidy. I've really been to town today. Dab a few bits of water here and there, I think. I sprayed it last night just to get everything sort of moist. But the paint does go tough after a while, doesn't it? So what I'm going to do, I think, I'm going to mix up some shadow for a start off. So some of this little bit of, well, some of it, it's lethal stuff, this.
Painting.
Try and stick a bit of blue in, see if I can get a shadowy tone. My water's filthy already. Perhaps a bit of turquoise. That's what we do on the for the portraits, isn't it? To get that neutral tint. It's just the light, I keep calling it, I haven't got any red. All I'm using is rose madder and thingy. And burnt sienna. I don't have any red. I was thinking about it this morning. I thought, why don't you have some red? If I need it, I'll just use the St. Petersburg set of paints and just nick a bit of colour out of there. Anyway, what I have done, I did this sketch Christmas Day when I was over at Mel's dad's. I sent Mel and James off into the kitchen cooking the Christmas dinner, and I sat in the dining room sketching away because I didn't want to watch TV. And when you're in the kitchen like that, Tues company frees an argument. Don't know why. It's a bit of turquoise blue here. I think that's one of the key things is to vary your colours. But this shadow goes, whoops, around the plate and down here. But it's turquoise, isn't it? Different colour. Vary the colours. Nice. I have actually a bit more turquoise blue, I think. For a
Looks
minute.
like painting by numbers. Memories of my childhood.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I say it looks like painting by numbers.
Most of it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Still, yeah, you're in the right realm there. Once you do a nice sketch, well, it's not that well sketched because I've missed a lot of it. Well, shut your eyes. One of the things that I wanted to do was experiment with using complementaries as shadows. You'll see what I'm on about in a minute. key. Just block some of these bits in. A looser wash. Perhaps a blend of the original flesh and a little bit of turquoise. Try and keep my bit more, want it a bit bluer. Keep my palette nice and clean. Well, I'll just say I'm feeling more confident about this than I was the one last week. Who knows? You just have to remind yourself that there is a method in your madness. Mine at the moment is try and pick out any bits of shadow, but I'm making it up. Well, I'm just looking at the colour picture thinking that's sort of shadowy. Let it dry off and then, but I haven't made the paper wet this time for the background. I've just gone for it. I haven't bought anything lately, art-wise. I've got a hankering to buy a brush, perhaps a number 12, something along that sort of size lines, but maybe a bit, just the next one up, a bit bigger. Just to paint, just for doing trees. Because when you do the foliage on them, you tend to, the idea is that you use this brush or a brush on its side, and if you hold it, I was going to say a rude word there, the awkward way, not the B way, and then always come down into your tree. But if you can get it right, you can use this as a sort of a dry brush, but this one goes limp. You can see it's sort of it doesn't, it will do it, but it's not as good as a thing. Anyway, I digress a bit. It's all relevant. Gonna put a bit burnt umber in this shadow. Very watery today. Don't know why. This must be this brush. Yeah, it must be the brush is picking up so much water. It's all that. It's all that. There's always the. In a way, it's the boring bit, blocking in. But on the other hand, it is probably the most important thing to get relatively right. Because everything else follows from it. Painting the negative, aren't we? Trying to. I've read people talk about that. Proper artists often wonder what they are talking about. This is the I'm still using what's that paper called? Oh, tip of my tongue.
Two Rivers
Langton,
meet.
the Langton paper. Langton it's called. I thought, well, I couldn't blame the paper for last week. I've decided that at some point I've got to paint a half reasonable picture with it. Still looking at dark bits at the moment. Just add in, build it up. You can spend a lot of time doing this. But I think it's the same with the trees. Everything's relevant in this thing. But don't stick with one colour. So when you're doing it, you know, use different bits of colour in your palette. Because that's what I'm trying to do here. Brush is a bit too. A bit of blue there, I think. Get some of that turquoise blue. I haven't used it for a little while. It's such a lovely colour. And you can do a lot with it as well. What crossed my mind about these this background stuff was, if you, maybe you can spot it, but I'm not very good at this. Use them, just think flowers. So if you want to, you can sort of put a few down lines to indicate that they're separate entities, you know, folds in the thing, and just draw flowers, flowery shapes, leaves and flowers. I think you'll be quite, it'll make life a lot easier, but don't do them, just do them random. Well, I think I'm gonna put my butt down for this because I'm gonna put my hand in the paint. Don't know why. Gordon will be good at these.
What?
You'll be good at this because it's got a rhythm and shape to it. It's a bit like Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, it's a designer shape.
I haven't got past the trees with the fence yet.
Which, yeah, which I might add.
Hmm?
I've been watching on my Instagram, I think it's Instagram account. I don't know how it's happened, but I keep getting these little videos turn up, and one of them is Rubik's Cube, you know, doing Rubik's Cube. I didn't realise it was that easy.
Is it?
What,
Well, I
painting
think-
it?
As long
I
as you
haven't-
don't want us to paint one.
What, a Rubik's Cube, yeah.
Yeah. Don't fancy that.
I remember when they first came out buying one, and I think me and Mel were courting at the time. Well, we were together anyway, and I brought it home. I said, "Here, look what I got. Have a look at it." And I said, "Got this." She opened it, and before I got time to look at it and analyze it and think about it, she went and mixed it all up. That was the last it was ever used. And I never managed to be able to. I bought books on how to do it and all this stuff. Didn't realise it was fairly straightforward. A bit of. I'm using the turquoise, cobalt turquoise, into the shadow mix from earlier, which was you can use. I was alizarin crimson, add a little blue to it, and then alter it by adding you can put in the cobalt blue into it, cools it down a bit. I'm just actually relating it to the picture, but if you want to warm it up, put raw sienna in it. So once you've got that neutral sort of tint color, you add extra bits to it just to change its temperature, I suppose is a good way of putting it, isn't it? But I was just looking at the did this ages ago, this color wheel, and I've never done another one. I've always thought it's quite nice. But if I'm looking at the apple, and what I said earlier, I was going to have a little bit of fun today, and so it's that sort of red, it's a red apple, the predominantly that side is red. So the complementary of that is a sort of a bluey color, isn't it? It's bluey. So I'm going to use, I decided I was going to use the blue first. Let it dry off, obviously, to form the shadow. I'm doing almost in reverse. I'm using, so I've just added a little bit of turquoise to that other colour. I'm going to put it just in there as well. Hopefully I can get it back. Oh dear. Cobalt blue, I think could be a good idea if I can find some. Well, I'm just thinking of the bowl. Nick a bit of the water out of there.
Like Chris was sat there coughing just then.
It's almost, I suppose we could use a indigo. Don't mention that with Gordon around. It's straight on it. Look at this. How professional am I? I've got a little piece of board here. Put it on there so I can rest my arm. Look, usually it's usually I'll just end up with a coloured hand. Talking of colours, the dog was walking around with pink on his fur, just ran by his ear earlier. Melanie said, "Where's all that pink from?" Well, so I did hear something fall on the floor earlier. So whether it was I thought, what would it be? A watercolor pencil or something? But don't know. I'm not a clue. Well, that's a nice blue. I think I'll just leave that alone. But as I say, I've not given any thought at all to those flowery things on the front. If I had spotted them and decided to draw them, or like I should have, I would have used a bit of masking fluid on them. Just drawn them as little stars. And then painted whoosh, just the same as I just did. Put my hand in that bit. I'm using a bit of that on the inside. Bit of that, this blue. It's still on the brush, so in you go. Classic routine when you're what I will do, get some of this shadow
You need to move those up.
when you're
Are you starting?
I'm working.
busy
Well, I better come and help. Later.
on one part of the picture,
Because you're getting the-
just move off and
all those cushions are behind everything else.
go to another.
So, I don't want to know.
Don't dwell on it.
Types of-
I just dropped some dark colour in there. I thought while it was wet, but it's still a bit too wet. There's a method in my madness. Wants to put the centre parts of the some sort of shape flowery thing. It is working a little bit. I can see
I think that was what-
blobs there. So I'm gonna let that lot
Does work.
sort itself out for a while. Well, I go off on a total tangent. Get some clean tissue. And I'm going to knock that on the head there. I need a bit of space, that's all. I don't want to. And I've got some sand. June.
And you've got to put that somewhere.
I'm just going to go whoosh. Create a storm, a little wash, really, of here and there. Hopefully they've dried, but I didn't make it wet, so I think that's I'm working wet on dry, so hopefully, well, as we can see, it gives me the opportunity to paint straight over it. That was June. The other colour I dreamt about when thinking about this picture was the flesh tone. They're very similar to each other. So I've picked out some of the darker shadow areas. Now I just want to block it in a bit. Oops, already got some on there. I need a nice blur it off. Same here. Add some raw sienna to this as well in a minute. Warm it up. Early lunch? Yeah, of course we will. Just blocking in with some colour at the moment. Bit of turquoise. While it's damp, I can drop in some bits of colour. Mel got a nice surprise yesterday. I got in the doghouse and no, I'm not really. Hang on. I'll show you. Picture tells 1,000 words. She went to Waitrose. Ta-da!
Oh no.
Oh dear.
Penalty charge. Notice in crime. Yeah. There's part. I don't know if it was my fault really. Part. I suppose I had a hand in it, even though I wasn't there. Because she's entitled to she's got a disabled badge. So normally you could park in the Bournemouth Pool and whatever you Christchurch car parks, you know, at grace and favour. But they changed, it's all slightly changed now. You have to sort of apply for you have to register your vehicle, which I have done, and obviously it run out. Apparently the bloke who gave her the ticket said that, well, yeah, but that was 2021 or something. And a different car as well, the previous car. So I'm just
It
sounding a
was
bit.
your fault then. Oh,
Well, it's taken them 3 years to catch up on her.
oh.
Can you appeal it?
Well, I could. And when she came back, I checked my records and all that sort of stuff. And I obviously found, and you can log on because you create an account with the council. And I logged on and found, you know, when I last applied, and I thought, oh, well, blimey, well, I have to sort it. So I applied, you know, for one while I was on 9 strip for this year, you know, for the coming season, so to speak. And it turns out they're 25 quid, which was the same as the fine. But if you get council tax support help, then they're free. Well, just so happens because James and his caring needs, and we do get council tax help. So I thought it was funny. I can't remember paying for it. I was ready, you know, up to pay for it, but I just tick the box, say, yeah, I do get some council tax help. And so hopefully I'll get it free. Don't get much for free off of Bournemouth and Poole Council. So any help you can get in there. I'm just playing with the darks here. I haven't changed those colours much. I've added a bit of burnt umber to this now because I thought this bit at the bottom, but I've noticed that the paper's cockling, which could go to my advantage in that it will create some sort of texture feeling to it. But I'm not holding my breath on that. So in my mind's eye, I'm thinking, the star of the show, once you get past all this jiggery mucking about, is the apple. But I'm going to save it for last, believe it or not. Well, because that stuff is. But I haven't got red, so I'm trying to add a yellow and rose madder together. Or Alice Crimson. There's a rock star on it.
Close.
Alice Crimson. It's Cooper, wasn't it? Alice Cooper. I've gone gaga a bit because I've decided in my mind's eye that my hero is Victor Meldrew, because I've suddenly realised that I'm pretty much like him anyway. I keep doing that is an age thing, isn't it? It's so well written that program that I thought, oh. So I'm starting to watch the programs, and I'm becoming Meldrewized, for want of a better term. I'm turning into Victor. I've never forgiven that Hannah Gordon either.
What, for running him over?
Yeah, she killed Victor Meldrew.
She did.
She died as well not so long ago in real life. So. Bit more yellow, right? Not about you, but I think that needs to be more blurred, and then drop some water on it, just to let it run, which is. Told you I need the hairdryer at some point. I think I will in a minute. Just once. I don't want you to. I mean, I'm not into this sort of flory stuff anyway. So if I'm going to do it, I want it to be straightforward. But you could have fun with you watercolor guys, because you are doing this way. You are sort of painting in a negative. You're just looking at dark shapes and putting them in and trying to leave a few. Try is the word. Bit of green, I think. What you could do, if you've got a pair of curtains to hand in the room,
Cut a piece out and stick it on the paper.
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? You could use that as a guide. Just paint your curtains and
Oh,
away you
that's-
go.
Mine are plain red, the ones I'm looking at.
Well, mine are, well, they're sort of fawny beige. Well, this sort of paper color, so maybe that's why I'm struggling. But yeah, it's one of my favorite pastimes. Lying in bed, finding shapes in curtains. You used to find faces and everything, don't you? It's really weird. And then when you wake up or come round and have a look, try and find, you can't find them again. It's remarkable. Just need a pinky fawny colour. Still think I'm gonna have to use a bit more water to squish it. Turn it into a bit of an abstract, this. Quite like it. Don't want to go over there, do we?
I'm still trying to decide whether to attempt it with my right hand or left. I did the tree with my right hand, and that
Yeah.
turned
Is it feeling better now?
out.
You're driving, aren't you?
Yes, yeah. I've got to wear the splint when I'm driving though. I've discovered. But yeah, that driving's okay. Turning on the ignition's hard. But I've developed more pain in the top of my arm. I don't know.
Well, that's because you're putting strain. Because
Yeah.
you're using
I'm
everything.
using a different part of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite achy, my arm now.
You need to. So ironic, isn't it? You're using bits that you haven't used before, and they're hurting.
Yeah.
They're shouting.
And yesterday I took my little grandson out for a walk. I went out for an hour. Yeah, well, just under an hour. And I think pushing the pushchair or the pram,
Might have,
that was holding my arm up at a different angle.
Yeah.
And when I went to bed last night, oh God, I couldn't get to sleep. I was aching my arm. I was like dead. It was awful.
Yeah.
It was such a lovely day. And it was really nice whizzing him around.
Changed already, hasn't he? I noticed you put a picture up the other day and I thought I could see the subtle changes so quick.
Yeah. Well, luckily all his jaundice is gone now, so he's back to a normal baby colour now.
Wow.
So he was really very jaundiced when he was born. But no, I took him out and let David was working. So I said to Kat, I said, right, I said, now you know what happens when the baby's asleep, you know what you're supposed to do. She said, washing, hang the washing out, hoovering. I said, no, go and have a rest. Oh dear. So she had a nice long shower and washed her hair and changed the bed and did all the things that she hadn't had time to do for the last week. But he slept from the minute he was put in his pram to the minute I got back.
All right.
And even left him in the pram, took his blanket and his sort of coat thing off, and he's still asleep for about half an hour. So
Mm.
that was
How old
nice.
is he now? How many weeks is he?
4 weeks yesterday.
Mm.
Brilliant. Trying to mix up a bit more sort of shadowy colour without revert. If I get frustrated, I'll just use a. I've got yeah, I've got a tube of shadow paint. I get
Yeah.
I get a bit peaked. Yeah, if I think, oh, this ain't, oh, whatever, I'll just open that up. You know what? These were supposed to be leaves here, but I don't know what they are really. I don't really care either. I watched a brilliant program last night. It was about Rembrandt. It might have been on before. It was one of his self-portraits. They were saying, do you know what? This is a Rembrandt. It's been demoted to a copy.
Anything twice instead of once.
And but even the copies were painted in the Rembrandt studio by people that he was training anyway. So it's difficult to judge, but they reckon this one was too good. It was definitely but the world boss of the committee said, no, go away. I've seen this painting, I've discussed it enough, I'm not doing it anymore. So, but I was convinced it certainly. But it gave me confidence,
That's what I always do.
because when you
Always have done.
look up close, you can see all the brush mark. You know, it ain't photographic. There's a lot of you know, brush strokes, work, and all that. It's only when you stand back 8 foot or whatever that it suddenly turns into a picture of the person that it's supposed to be. Well, maybe.
I'm sure they'll roll up. You might have to do them in a loop.
I don't know. You get this preconception or this sort of notion in your mind's eye that these old masters are sort of painting on they are painting on a different level to most of us, but that they're so awesomely done, but they're not. Well, in our age, they're not, because we're so used to photographs and media. We see things totally different to what they did. We can reproduce them almost as they are. Didn't we? That was a nasty bit of colour, wasn't it? I was expecting a combination of yellow and flesh, which gives me a sort of a peach Melba type colour. What did I get? Flipping rose madder. Straight out of this archaic brush. I don't know why. I'm tempted to stick it in there, and I'm going to get. There's a brush here. It's sort of a stippler brush that I was messing about with earlier. So I'm going to continue messing about with it and just stipple in some sort of design shape. doing it. I don't want to do it. I want I want the water and the combination of water and paint to do the work. Oh, and a brush, of course, comes into it.
Still going.
Dun, 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 dun. I think, yeah, all right. It's a shame my paper is cockled. It doesn't
Yeah, I
usually
couldn't
do
find
that.
it, Patricia. So that's just it.
Must be because it's not so strong a colour as I'm used to using. Thickness of the paper. It's about 140. Rings a bell. Normally I use, well, in the past I've bought stuff that's much heavier. When in doubt, get a fan brush out and just let the fan brush do some work.
No, we're going to keep that.
There you go.
I don't think it came in a box, did it?
The final
A box down
The
here.
final bit is to get some rigor work going, isn't it? Oh, right. What should we do here with the... I haven't got clean water. I'm stuck with the same water that I started with. So it's gradually gone a darker shade of white. In actual fact, let's put a bit of orange in. I'm deliberately trying to paint loose today. I think I'm succeeding. I'm kind of terrified of putting the red in because I instinctively know what's going to happen. Well, what tends to happen when I drop it in. But as I say, my real goal was to play with the theory of the using the complementary as the shadow, and then let it dry off, and then when you put the proper colour over, it acts as a tone. Almost worked. I think being watercolour, it dries back so quickly. Shall I go towards it or no? I'm just trying to put some streaky lines in to make it look. In watercolour, it fades back, so you're always going to get lumbered with that one. And hopefully, using my tissue, and lift a bit off. We've got our shadow from where we started from. Just want to lift a bit of paint off here and there. Big sigh there, Dave. Yeah, it was. can always add a bit more shadow to some of the red. Oh, blimey, that was strong. Some of the red, which is it's the same shadow up there that I put on right at the start. And drop it in. Just a little. Ooh. I had an apple like this morning for breakfast.
They're in there, I can see.
Yes, some of them are in, yes, some of them aren't. I'm laying.
Well, I've got that colour on there.
I'm trying to figure out what she's got.
Stick a blob of it in there.
Let me come and help you then, because I know.
There you go.
Sit down and listen. I've got a box there which is empty.
Not as red as I want it to be.
All spare stuff in one go from that area into that box.
Just the way my palette is.
Go out and take it back, put it there.
Take it or leave it.
Right.
I'd still eat it. Looks all right to me.
At least two
Tasty.
Yes.
Quite possible.
Very tasty. Well, I've got this
Just come and show you which is-
brush in sort of shadow. Just going to go over the bowl.
that one is in the lavender, because that's the-
Complementary colour to the apple. It dried off a bit, so just let the wash come down. Get a smaller brush, heading towards a rigger, but not quite. Just trying to get a bit more control. It's all right. I found I found a pencil line that I put in earlier, and
It's one of them.
it's nagging. It nags you, doesn't it? Because you think, oh, that must be the line where I should paint it, and I didn't. So I have, Here we go with I've got a rigger in my hand. So staying with the local colours in the palette. Let's put some sharp lines on these. Burnt umber and blue. Everything's watery here today. I've said that about 5 times now.
These are partly lounge.
And to do that, when you paint, you say what you're thinking. Yeah, just drop it in, let the water do the work.
That's bits and pieces.
There is something going on down here as well.
You should have 2 boxes for the round.
Something going on down there.
That's what I said in the-
Don't know,
No, the start.
tomorrow morning when you look at it again, or later on today, you think, oh, that's not right, that's not right.
Never get it right if you get those.
Depends what you want, really. What you really want is to
You get into the silly stage.
just to express yourself on it.
I just want to get. No, that.
That's a shame.
These are going in their right boxes.
I really wanted this to pull the bowl out, but where they meet, it's so shadowy, it's difficult to do that without getting it to dry and putting some white in it. That is, put white on there and that'll make it differentiate. A bit more clean water. Try and soften that out. but more often than not, I'm going to have to do that later on when it's dry. And just lift it out. I don't mind a few hard lines though. It's all right. I'm not going to get too. I don't know how many riggers I've got here. Put the shadow in. Yeah, that's fine. Once you've got that rigger in your hand, you're off. Start putting effort into the whatever these things are. Stop looking at the picture and add your own interpretation, shadow wise. Quite like that curtain. Could be leaves, couldn't it? Flowers and leaves. Add those finishing touches. So we've got to use your imagination a bit, isn't it? And say, right, that's a leaf. That's a space between a leaf. That isn't a leaf. Just tease them out. So if you use the brush on its side, you'll get those sort of sweeping. I was saying it's randomness, something that isn't contrived by me as the artist. I want it to look like it arrived. I didn't paint it. It is already there. I think I'll be saying that for the next 20 years. Well, be lucky. Yeah, I've got all these sort of serious, nasty runbacks going on here. Burnt umber, blue, and a little bit of green. Should give me a really nice dark
Boxes, but they're where they were.
to have a little play with. And drop in around here. How long's a piece of string? Really should do this when it's dry. Put a line of dark along it and then drag it away. See if I can get some sort of variation. Da-na-na-na. Hold on. Ease it away with a big push. Right. Happy Basil? Not too bad.
Those live here. Okay.
How well for time?
1:45.
Oh,
I'm
well.
going to have to go. I'm sorry. Peter keeps calling me.
Well, you're in your element here.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
expecting great things off of you.
Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah, well, it'll be better than last week's. It was horrendous.
Well, you'll just whack some
Oh,
pastel on, won't you, at the end?
oh.
There's a subtle hint.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, then. Well, I'll see you all
All right.
next week.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
then.
bye.
Take care.
Bye.
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 Got to let that dry there, because it's not going to work until it's dry. I was thinking I've got some commissions to do at some point.
Yeah.
Just getting the getting your act together, isn't it? Your bumming gear, I suppose, is a good way of looking at it. To organise something. The worst of it is I've already started them, which is unforgivable. Yeah, it's all running back here where it's so wet. Oops. Dirty paint. Dirty water. It's a funny thing about watercolor. When the water is like that, but underneath, it seems clear. It doesn't, you don't need to change it. It's weird. Just want to block this off a bit over this side. Bit off there. And then ding, ding. Everybody's going for an early lunch.
There was a lead on the floor, not plugged into anybody.
Dare I? Dare I? I do.
Do you know what it is?
Something to do with you, I expect, not one of your computers or something. Oh, it's not that one, is it?
It's got to be the carousel, isn't it?
I don't know. It's the only one that was plugged in up there. Apart from the lamp, there's a lamp as well.
Leave it.
This is all his sign.
Yeah. Just having a think. Got some tissue in my pocket.
That's got a box somewhere, isn't it?
I can't see what you're pointing.
To lift a bit off.
The wooden,
The German white one.
no, it's not the German.
It's a non-German white one.
It hasn't got a box that I know. The German one has, the proper one.
Right, I know. I have a plan.
Are you going to tell us what it is? Is it a secret?
Oh,
Right, I was concentrating. Now I'm gonna dry that off and then put a lighter wash. Trying to make it a little bit more obvious. My apple's looking like an orange. Hey, ho. Is that brush? There it is.
Yeah, that tortoise can go packed away. The one you were just looking at. Where the
What's a- Just wanted a more subtler colour.
extra things, that's backwards. Look.
So
Thank you.
just got some burnt sienna.
Would you like me to go and make you a cup of tea?
No. Well, if you want to.
I'll stop you a moment.
My favourite go-to, isn't it? Burnt sienna. Warms it up. Well, I think it's supposed to be wood. So
Yeah, it just looked like a wooden table.
So I was just thinking, well, if you were painting in oils, you could get away with that serious dark
Otherwise, that's the
feel to it. But when I'm using watercolors, it's really difficult to get that distinction between dark and very dark because it's transparent medium. Whereas with the acrylics and that, you'll get a better result. More successful feel to it. That was supposed to be burnt sienna and it's burnt umber. Stupid boy. Well, we're not going to waste it. I'm just going to stick with it. Feel more like a blooming furniture designer here. Retouch it. Haven't finished yet. Stick a bit of water on the apple. See if I can get away with adding a little bit more redness to it. It's the only way to do it when it gets just build it up with layers. Let the water do the work. It's a bit better. Use a stiffer brush. And clean tissue. Should be able to lift a bit of that off. Push it back. Oh, I think there's a hair there. So I'm going to leave it because it looks like a anomaly on the skin of the apple, which is not a bad thing. We don't buy Sainsbury's apples. We get the oddsies. Actually, I think we do actually. Yep, that'll do. Happy now. Very subtle, soft, watery bit of shadow. That's going inside now. More water than a little bit in there. And a bit more where it meets the apple over here. Yeah. Bit more like it. Flat brush is quite handy for getting these lovely straight lines. Can do a lot with a flat brush. Surprising how accurate they can be. Looks like one of my old breakfast bowls, this now. I might add a bit of cobalt blue on here. Well, that's I'm tempted just to use the turquoise, but for now I'll stick with the cobalt. Quite like that. Get into that sort of stage where I don't want to go too mad. I've got one niggle to add. Got a really stiff brush here somewhere in my armory. Maybe that was what fell on the floor just now. About 2 hours ago. Looks like it. No, there it is. Just wondering if I could lift I'm going to use some white at some point. Maybe not. Where is it? Where is the white? Come here, you. Well, it's white. It's seized up in the tube. Ooh. What you want really is one of those crafters, sort of a kiddie's stamp, so you could just stamp a design on the bowl. No, at the end of the day, that's how they were formed originally. Clean brush. See what happens. So I want one doink, one doink, one doink, one doink, one on the end, one in the middle, one in the middle, one in the middle, one in the middle. Where's the rigger? Don't be shy, come on out. Oh dear. Pay all this money for these wonderful riggers. I'm just going to use the end of it. See if I could flick it up. Not very good, is it? Just so happens the brush that I used for the white, it's got a scratchy thing on the end of it. Anyway, you can mask yours out and do a neater job, possibly. Want it to dry.
It's all going out in the junks.
Dries, I'll put some more blue down there. Other than that, I'm quite content.
No, I don't usually.
When it dries, I'll add a bit more.
Okay, you've got
Touch
flower
up a bit of
crystals
white
outside,
here and there.
on this side as well. And the reindeer. And that dog.
Unbelievable. It's just that there's just one little bit over there that could do with a little bit stronger colour, which is this piece here. And once that's dried, I'm just going to have to wait for it to dry back properly so that I can just add a little bit more in there on this left hand side. Other than that, I'm quite happy. It's a new year, isn't it? We don't want to go too mad.
In the end or not? No, okay.
But I've
I made it, I couldn't carry it, I was too shaky.
a little bit of
I was saying, thank you would have been nicer.
what I might try. A bit of the sand colour. Trying to put some distance between me and this bit of tabletop. That'll do. It's the beauty of that sand colour. It acts like a
Huh?
like an
Very good, yeah. Taking out,
an acrylic
doing it again. I think it was
lifesaver, really.
I missed that bit.
It's not white and it's not watercolor. It's sort of an in between.
Put the white on top of the
It's not
dark.
one or the other. Rigger. Maybe just put a little bit of a ease there. Right. Throw that away. Stand back and think, maybe I'm on a. I'm going to say, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Over to you, because well, no, I'm at it's at a stage where I want to just leave it, come back and sit back. I mean, it is fairly complete. You get to those stage, don't you, where if you think, well, if I carry on, I'm going to sort of change things. I just put a doodle around it. That teases it off a bit. Lay it flat. Yeah. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing you do this one, Chris.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
The to my mind, the bit to watch out for is this bit here. You might need to put a bit of extra work on that, or be cautious of it, because the difference between there and there is not easy to establish.
I have a dog.
I've blocked it in. I've started it off. I think once it's dry, I'll be able to, you know, put a line down there to sort it out, to make it look distinct. It may be even doing this. I don't do it as much as I always say it, but I don't do it as often as it might sound as though I do. But when it's bone dry, you can use the watercolor pencils just to add that extra strength to the edge, or in parts of the picture. See, I've done it there straight away, just by putting a couple of lines in. All of a sudden, that's popped out now. So that's the only reason I mention it. I don't do it all the time. Just so that is wet. So by putting the watercolor pencil on it, it's actually hydrating the watercolor pencil. See what I mean? And adding extra strength there. This is what. That's what I say. If you're using watercolor, you have to be careful with that, because we can't. Being a transparent medium, you can't. You look at that picture and you think, well, that's a solid color there and it's a solid color on, but you can't do that because you're using, your pigment isn't acrylic and it isn't oil. Whoops, something's just thrown at me. Isn't oils and it isn't acrylic, so you're always going to have that struggle to get a really solid. Well, solid on a solid, to distinguish them is going to be really difficult. But using that watercolor pencil, you can see where I'm at, what I'm on about. Went too far there, never mind. Yeah, I think that'd be fine. While it's wet, we'll add a few bits in there. Yeah, I like that. Quite pleased with that.
Oh, that's good.
Well, when it's dry, I can use that that really stiff brush to lift off some areas, and they'll just sort of subtly bit of clean water, just lift it off and try and make it blend a bit better. But even then, you can see when it's dry, you can add just a few strokes. Well, it takes a couple of strokes of a watercolor pencil to add that little bit of, oops, you can't rub those off, Dave. It doesn't work like that. Add that extra little bit of glow, because that'll be it. Job done. This brush is, I always just think this was my go-to stiff brush, but it just touching it now, it doesn't feel that stiff. Because I used to use it all the time to sort of lift off paint. Doesn't seem to work. It's not as hardened as I thought it was. I have to have a rethink about that, because you need there's a really annoying bit there. I didn't put that there. That arrived all on its own. Use my head. Nothing worse than an apple with a pimple on it.
Or one with a maggot in it.
I think there's oh, those were the days, Chris. Touch wood, they don't happen so often now. I do have a black watercolor pencil that you can, I'm not going down there with it. I'm scared. Over here is okay, because there's a shadowy bit between there and there. But I think you'll have fun with this, especially on the background thing. It doesn't have to be anything distinct.
Yes,
Balance. I think I might.
I'm glad you said that.
you can do.
Yeah, over to you lot.
Thank you. So kind. I've got a dog on my lap. Can you see him?
Yeah, I can see him.
I think Chrissy will be fine. You'll be fine with this. On yeah, correct. I reckon it'll just work out. Oh, look, she's got a dog. It'll flow. Joyce is quiet.
Sorry?
Joyce is, you're quiet. You're up to something. You're thinking, what's
I have a lot going on at the moment, Dave.
Oh,
You're moving next week.
next week? I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
you're moving.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Slightly scary.
Yeah, it's bad enough
Where-
when you.
Whereabouts you moving to?
Oh, we're just moving near the town centre.
Oh, right, right,
Yeah. But we've been doing a lot of refurb before we actually move.
right.
But you know, it's sort of next week.
Oh, right, wow.
It's sort of here.
Yeah,
Mm.
got the Christmas in between. It's
Oh
quite
yeah.
a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, and of course we've still got visiting. I'm on visiting duty in a minute, so that's still going on.
Oh,
Yeah,
no
Wow.
peace for the wicked, Joyce.
No.
indeed.
It's stressy enough
Oh.
when you're young, and
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, we
What are
haven't
you
done it for a while.
suggesting, Dave? Well, we moved here on the 18th of December, many
Wow.
years ago. Yeah, just like
Wow.
a week before Christmas. Yeah, that was a bit. That was fun.
I noticed the other day, oh, just this week, there's some people moved in over the back, and made me feel quite reflective, really, because there is obviously a youngish couple with kids. They put one of these trampolines in the back garden and everything. Everything like boing, oh, it's a little boing, little nippers going up and down. But I just think, 37 years ago, that was us. With our kids, and gradually ended up with 5 kids out the back there, screaming and fighting and running and playing. And I was thinking, this is how the neighbours felt when we moved in. So you're going to have to change your attitude, Mr. Harvey.
I've got kids with trampolines both sides of me.
Oh wow.
That was quite funny.
Sort of boing, boing. Yeah, you're right, yeah, right. Yeah, it seems to be all the fad, the trend at the moment.
Yeah.
I know Phil Pop's got one. Emily's got a big one in the back gardens. They leave them out all year round. They're quite robust. I've had a go.
That's great.
It was, yeah. I thought it's all right, but it's the following day. You can't. There's bits of your body you didn't know it's still there. Oh.
Dear.
I don't think I'll be able to get up and do a trampoline, let alone bounce.
Yeah, that's it. Once you're all right if you sat down. It's when you sit. It's out once you've got there. It's when you try and get up. It's all over us. Oh. Yeah. It's only if you did it every day, you'd be fine, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Maybe I should get one.
Yeah, we'll all come around for a bounce.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself.
I'm sure you can get adult quality ones that take the extra weight.
I'd have
So
to have
very-
one that's sort of sunk into the ground so that you just walk straight onto it. You'd have to climb on and off of it. That would
Looks
be
like
good.
Gordon's doing a good job there.
I'm decorating myself up for next Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Or ours,
Oh, yeah.
ours are all
Very
back in the loft.
We're trying. We got COVID.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
That's
Well,
what
I
we
ain't coming
found
around
years
to
ago.
help you out, that's for sure.
I got another 2 days. Is it 3 days left?
Oh, to get it done.
12th night. Yeah.
No,
We're getting there.
mine have
Mine
got.
were waiting for somebody to put mine in the loft because I can't get up there either with my wrist.
Well, mine's not going in the loft. No.
No,
No.
I've decided.
Goes in the garage.
Goes in the garage now in plastic
Mm.
boxes on the one wall. That's all.
Yeah. I remember coming and getting your Christmas decorations down when you broke your neck.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks for that, Chris.
That's why they're not up there now.
That was a long time ago.
It was, yeah.
Well, if you want to come and stick them back up in the loft for me, I don't mind.
Oh, I can't put my own up in the loft.
Ah, well, we'll leave them where they are then.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to go on and cancel Boxing Day. I
Have fun.
thought I'd ask, even though I thought, no, don't be so stupid, Dave. I quite like that picture I've just done.
It's
Yeah,
lovely.
I quite like it, Dave. Got my approval.
Yeah.
It's one of those funny.
Not looking forward to the curtains.
It's one of those pictures that you do and you think, well, I'm not sure about that, and then after, but you keep having to look at it. I can see a lot of potential here. I'm quite pleased. One thing I did try the other day was when I was on the paint my picture website was they've got a thing at like reference image, artwork or whatever, and the other ones it said most popular, and I typed in that, and the most popular was still life.
Oh,
Yeah, obviously they have people look at pictures and they check out, it creates a numerical value, and the ones that it was like pages and pages, it's all still lifes.
Yeah.
It's my least favourite subject.
I'm not doing very well with you, am I? Last week, and now still lives. I haven't got a clue what next week's is, so
What about the waterfall sometime, Dave?
we got that
waterfall.
Scottish one of yours to do, so I'll put that up this week.
Cottage one.
Hmm.
We've got a new lady coming next week as well. Someone bought a ticket, so
oh,
Interesting.
mm.
it was. I don't mind if people come in. I think what they're missing the point of it's easy, you can go on YouTube, you can buy a book and get that da-di-da-di-da, put the blue here, use that stick, use that there, and you can do that yourself. But what we're doing is totally different from that. It's more, and it's more of a, I don't know, it's more meaning to it. I don't know quite. I was thinking about it earlier. I was thinking I don't want to. I thought maybe I should do some videos, painting skies, how to paint brilliant skies, how to paint trees, blah 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 blah. And I thought there are millions of people out there doing that. No one is doing this. Sort of taking.
You get a stranger in, if they're a bit surprised that we all know each other.
Yeah.
Acting
I can understand that.
individuals.
Yeah.
But
Possibly a shock.
it doesn't take long to become part of that club anyway.
Oh no, I know that, but
It's not.
they're expecting it to be like a class, and we're not. We're a group of friends. Whether that's the difference.
But when I do the painting, it's all in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the funny thing about it.
Yeah.
You've got. I try to put, I'll say something to an aside. Like this morning, I thought that tree thing. I thought, so it's in there. If someone wants to know how to paint trees, it's in there.
Yeah.
Can I say something, Dave? The idea of you showing people's work on here is very good, because that could help to glue people to you, if you get what I mean. You might want to stress that a little bit more at the end. Just go and get on with it and send me your pictures. And
You did last week.
yeah, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
it might help, that was all.
So
With those two ladies.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll amend the class thing, but at the end of the day, it's great when you get 2 or 3 people come in, and if they were just, but the hub, the core half a dozen is still the, like last week. It's, for me, it's so much more relaxing. If it goes pear-shaped, I've got 6 people here who know exactly what I'm going through and what happened, and they're going to have to do it as well. And they're going to, if I find it hard, blowing my own trumpet, they're going to find it even harder.
That's what I think is a bit of a surprise to them, that we all know each other.
Yeah.
It's sort of almost pushing into a group almost is quite difficult.
Yeah, I do try to stress that it isn't, that it's not like that. We're not against anyone, we're all,
No.
and Chrissy does it. Hello, who are you? Where are you from? Yeah, oh God. It's like,
Do some local ones. They tend to be all over the country, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Be better if they were in Bournemouth or Poole. Then we'd be all
Yeah.
right.
I don't know. I think it's fascinating,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Mm.
and it's
Nice to
good
meet
to
them.
meet other. You know, I think all I can say is at the moment, because I put the videos up on Paint My Picture, you've got an that we do. The the people watching them suddenly has gone incrementally. It's gone watch the winter scene one. It was 160 or something last night when I looked at it. Half hour later it was 164. Yeah, and it goes up 4.5 an hour. And I think
Very good.
well, that's
Very
good.
good.
Mm.
So,
They are out there wanting.
over the time we were doing it, I've deliberately not publicized it as I could online and all the rest of it. But it's nice. Being small is nice. Being big is complex.
Yeah.
Like I
yeah.
say, when you get 2 new people, like next week the ladies come in, it does make the cheeks of your bum a bit tighter, you know, because it's more. No, but you want to put input that's going to help them,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
you know.
It probably does
move
you
on.
good though. Probably
Mm.
does you good because you have to refresh yourself each time.
Keeps you
that's
on your
what-
toes.
That's what I keep saying, you know. I said it earlier, if I was to paint landscapes like those trees, you know, the trees in the background, that's a really nice little doodle I did there. But that's comfort zone stuff that I could knock them out all day, every day, you know, and flog them. But this is better.
Mm.
Mm.
Oh, we like it.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't, and I deliberately don't practice the day before or week before. That I've never, everything that I've done there is from now. So
Can you send
eventually,
sorry, Dave, can you send the link to that Paint My Picture?
yeah,
I've
I was going to
just
say,
Googled it and it's come up with hundreds.
yeah, you have to join in. It's PMA,
Oh, it is PMA. Oh, I saw that one.
or is it PMP? Paint My Photo.
Paint My Photo, is it?
I'll send you the link just in case.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just
No,
join.
I've seen Paint My Photo. I was looking for Paint My.
It is Paint My Photo. Yeah.
Yeah,
It is. Oh, okay then.
yeah.
That's all right then.
You can sign up. It doesn't cost anything, and there's no
Yeah.
thing. And you're quite
Yeah.
eligible to post your own picture on there. But I do that for us anyway, because I get the reference pictures that I take. Then when I put the picture up
Paint My
there,
Photo.
video, I link it to that artist and say thank you,
Yeah.
or that photographer, and it's great doing that. It's good for them. They love it
Mm.
because
Oh,
they get
yeah.
a different perspective on their photo, on their portraits. We need to do some more portraits. I'm desperate to do some more.
Yeah, I'm on it now.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh gosh, hundreds and hundreds and
Yeah.
hundreds.
Oh, it's
Keep you
bad.
busy all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everyone's eyes different.
Mm.
What you see and what I see, I'm not worried about the subject, but if it grabs your attention, just download it or send the link. That's all you got to do. Just copy the link from the top of the browser and just post me that link, and then I'll just download it and diddle around with it. There's some really good photographers on there, and the portraits are brilliant. It's the only place I know where you can get photographs of children on the beach without upsetting anyone, apart from your own kids, like or your grandchildren. I think it's a good idea, and it's copyright. We don't have to pay for the privilege. or be threatened that this is my thing, you're not supposed to, you don't even go there. Right, let's go and have some lunch, shall us?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
Yeah, thank you very much.
When is
Yeah,
it your
very much.
movie
Next
choice?
week,
This
very
week?
I know next week.
Oh,
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
good luck
plenty
with
of
that.
boxes.
Luck with
thank
all
you.
of
Yeah, there's all sorts going on at the moment.
Are you having people come in and pack it up and for you? And
Not packing up, no, just moving us, and it's a little bit tricky with furniture because at the moment we're living on the first floor, and the access, there's a lobby which you have to sort of negotiate before you go downstairs.
Right.
So fortunately where we're going is has a lift, so
Right.
it's more accessible, but it is on the second floor.
Oh.
However,
So will you have a better view from the second floor?
the view is very nice. Yes,
Right.
I think we're looking south. So there's lots of trees. Merrick Park to the right, and then in the distance you've got, I suppose, over towards the beck. So it sort of goes right across the gardens and so on.
Oh, lovely.
Oh yes, we have a balcony. Yes,
Oh.
Okay, yeah. Where is it, Joyce?
it's on Merrick Park.
It is Merrick Park, yeah. No,
Yeah.
Kathy used to live in a flat in Merrick Park.
Oh, lovely. Yes, it's quite the area for flats, as you probably know.
Yeah, and this was a big convert, sort of
Oh, right.
converted old house, and they
Uh-huh.
were right on the very top.
Oh,
top
lovely.
floor. Yeah, so they had lovely views. Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, yeah. So
Wait for
looking
the
forward.
train going by. Yeah. Oh, good luck with your move.
Thank
Yeah,
you. I may
yeah.
not see you next week, but
Yeah.
you.
Well, we
Thank
understand why.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find your phone or your laptop or whatever.
Yeah, well, I've
Mm.
just sorted out BT yesterday, and they can't do it till the day after we move. So we'll be without things,
Right.
and hopefully it will actually work. It does happen.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure.
We shall see.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
So take care, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
you.
too.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thanks, then.
Right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Bye, Dave.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye. See you next week.
I agree.
Flash, blow.
Bye.
I see trees green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yeah, the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the face cry. I'll watch them grow. They'll learn so much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful, wonderful world. Oh yeah. One for the road. Go and get cuppa. Pause.